you. Welcome to this series, Human Design. How does it feel? I'm talking to you from a witchy hour. This is night time at the full moon on Libra. So I felt like really compelled to talk to you about this in this witchy hour. And my sweet little baby dog is here to be with us on the bed. And today I wanted to talk about how does it feel to have a undefined throat. This one is really interesting. It's been really one of the most helpful maybe for me. So I wanted to tell you about, as this is the prompt of this series, is how certain aspect of human design manifest in someone's life, in this case mine, so that you can reflect and think in your own life how does like this lands on like very specifically for you. um, and remember, if you have similar experiences or if you have a defined center that you want to share with me, like how does that feel? Reach out to me. My email is on the YouTube channel, or just write me a comment and we can talk. So, having a defined throat for me has been difficult and also a gift, as it usually is. On one hand, because having an undefined throat means that you can be quite flexible as a speaker. You know, the throat obviously is your center of expression. And so, um, I think I have the ability to communicate at many different registers. For example, academically, like very like, intellectually driven, very complex, very like conceptual. But also I can talk more quotidian, right? Like with my like short stories or things that I write on my like fiction or nonfiction or even here, right? And even when I'm doing some comedy, which I have tried, so there's like so many different registers that you can be quite like a compelling speaker because of like this wide range of ways. I also communicate very emotionally. So if I want to, if I drop, I definitely can connect with my emotions and talk. Another gift of this undefined throat, which with time started to reveal to me, not when I was younger though, is that we can be a channel from the divine, meaning if you step out and allow yourself to be a channel, you can most definitely download spiritual wisdom for people, which is what I do, for example, in my Akashic Records readings, where I'm channeling information for my clients, right? Um, and even I think at times I have channeled the energy or like the expression of a collective group. So for example, in grad school, I would say things and then would go out of class, things that are challenging, okay? So difficult things, critical things, and then I would go out of the class and my classmates would be like, you are voicing what we couldn't, like you have said what we were thinking. And so definitely that is on like the most maybe the bright side, the gift side of that. Now onto the challenge though. This kind of way of having your throat center undefined can be and has definitely for me have been a source of self-doubt, because you cannot predict accurately what's coming out of your mouth. Okay, so this is a pretty scary, right? And I think the way I have tried to control this is by preparing very well. Like I prepare a lot of what I'm gonna say, even when I'm gonna have like a discussion or a conflict with a loved one, a friend, a lover, I would like rehearse, like I would be obsessive about what I'm going to say because, and I didn't know this, because I've been doing this for a while, but I didn't know this until now that I know I have this trait here, because I have fear of what I'm going to say. And even with that preparation, there have been times where I am just channeling and I don't know what's gonna come out of my mouth. For example, I have cried in public many times in setups that you would be like, oh, that's not professional or whatever. Because when I am channeling emotional energy, I would just cry, right? And I have learned that that's something that can happen to me and it's okay, right? So for example, I remember presenting my dissertation work to my um like the cohort and other cohorts like within my school. I was tearing up about my journey in grad school and stuff like that, which was not something I predicted or like was expecting to have, and it just happened, right? And more recently, for example, I had an interview for like a position for a like fellowship or whatever, and I ended up saying something that I'm going through in terms of like my academic decisions and my professional life that I was not expecting to say at all, and that leaves me thinking, oh my God, did I mess up? Like, should I have said this or not? And it's that the feeling that you cannot fully control what's coming out of your mouth has been really difficult for me. And I think that's something that with time and awareness, we can sort of like mm, tend to, so that we're more aware of what's going on with us, right? So a couple of things here that I was thinking also is because there's a lot of energy that I am catching from mental bodies of people and then emotional energy. I would feel the need to speak frequently. Like I'm also like this kind of personality that it likes to speak in a group, likes to share their opinions constantly. But with this open, undefined throat, I find with time and within the years that sometimes I don't have to speak, or like it's not necessary for me to talk, even if I'm feeling the push to say something on behalf of the collective that no one has said, like to mention, the white elephant of the room. I have learned with time that sometimes I just have to stay quiet. Like, and that's okay. Like I don't have to talk. And that discernment has helped me. Um, and also another thing, the second thing I was gonna say with this undefined throat is that it's very important for us to be very mindful of which space and people are gonna be receptive of our word and our gift, because most definitely I have said things in this channeling mode to crowds or groups of people that are not receptive or are not. It's not a good opportunity to say these things that I'm saying in that space. So I have to be very mindful, and this is what I recommend of how my body is feeling, what is my authority telling me, like in my case, the sacral authority, like do I have this gut feeling that I need to speak this now? And if so, is this coming from fear? Is this coming from certainty? Like really pause and see, what is this coming from? And at times, funnily enough, I don't know how to communicate in an articulate way. So that also can happen, that when you have an undefined throat, yes, you have a lot of registers and like that you can speak to, but at times when you're not in the right place, you literally cannot articulate yourself. And it's really frustrating and really hard. And I definitely have felt that as well. Most definitely, one of the things that is recommended for us that I have not mastered is to let myself speak freely, to not prepare. Like, you cannot imagine how many conversations I prepare, even like it's ridiculous. Like, what I'm gonna say to my neighbor when she picks me up. Like something like that is just really because I'm so scared of what's coming out of my mouth that I am over planning and obsessive about that. So the suggestion is for us to see what happens when you don't prepare, don't control, just speak freely. And I'm exaggerating. At times I just let myself go and it's fine. I don't know. I have, but to be honest, most of the times I'm trying to control what I'm gonna say. And it takes a lot of energy and time and it's just not productive. Of course, if you have like a big talk or like, a conference where you have to prepare, but other than that, gosh, even like the most like ridiculous things I'm preparing for, that doesn't really matter. So that's one thing that I still need to work on. And if you have an undefined throat, maybe you also struggle with this. And then I think there's some other thing here that has to do, and this might be the last thing, um, has to do with a fear of not being noticed. I think that this undefined throat give us this urgency to be noticed and be heard and be acknowledged. And this is something that you have to learn to give to yourself. Like with this undefined center, you need to understand that you are seeing yourself, you are understanding what you want to say, even if it's channeling or it's completely yours, and that it doesn't matter if someone else hears you or notices you. Like you don't need that sort of you cannot depend on that. So everyone as a human being wants to be noticed. That's completely healthy if you want. But put every of your self-confidence in being noticed, it won't work. And so this is where I say practice silence and practice staying in silence in groups and see what happens with yourself, what happens with your body, and kind of give yourself what you need. I think it's also like a very good practice. And yes, really, I guess this last thing I'm saying is to identify, work through, analyze, heal your need for attention. I think I definitely struggle with that. Um, and, it stems from many places. Of course, like all of these placements, if you want, then have all this background of this history. So I have a very personal abandonment wound, and so for me, of course, the need to be noticed or to have attention, it's important, and it gets compulsive because it's coming from trauma. So again, like having very mindful being very mindful of that in me so that I give myself what I need and don't put all the power in the external world, right? Um, and the other thing is, well, I don't have that much, but sometimes with this undefined throat, you might be the one that is always trying to initiate conversation. And although that's cool that you're proactive, it doesn't let you all the time kind of pause and see what energies you're dealing with. You're also doing all the work for the other person. And also sometimes you might just let sit back and see, is this other person actually interested in talking to me? Like I'm doing all this effort to like initiate conversations and they're not reciprocating, or they get used to that and they never do the effort to initiate. So that's the other thing that I would recommend. And like again, I feel pretty comfortable with being in silence with people at this point, but it wasn't easy for me in the past. So kind of like thinking through your relationship with silence, both within large groups and discussions in large groups or in one-on-one conversations. How do you feel when there's just nothing to be said and just be with the other person? And that's all for the undefined throat. More of the placements coming next. Happy full moon. I wish you well. Bye.